Usually when we watch a work of fiction or a piece of media, there is always more than one way of interpreting it. We all take different lessons from the same experience, and today I want to share with you my thoughts and lessons that I learned from this amazing anime.
ただでさえヴィラン発生率も減少傾向でヒーローも数絞られてきてんだぜ。こっからは真に強いやつだけがヒーローになる時代だっての。よし。
All Might showed true strength in this season because even though all the odds were stacked against him, and he had no one to help him and no power to save him, he still decided to stand against All For One with a smile. A smile. Even after giving up his power, he still held on to his beliefs and actually did some damage against All For One, so that's respect. For me, this was a powerful reminder that no matter what the odds may seem like, as long as you give it your all, you will never be unsatisfied with the outcome. And the universe will eventually transpire to give you the thing you desire the most, if it's good for you. Another lesson I learned was the journey of becoming better. The ending did a good job of addressing the journey of the Todoroki family, and what resonated with me was the sudden change in Endeavor's attitude. I mean, if your dead son came back to life just to end your family, I think your attitude would change as well. But Endeavor is almost overburdened with the responsibility he has to take because he refused to do so in the past. He neglected his family in literally every way possible just because he thought he could catch up with All Might. Now with the reintroduction of Darby back into his life, sort of, Endeavor is going to try to become a better father and a better husband, even if no one will accept him, because he understands that he has to atone for whatever damage he caused, and the suffering he experiences is just a consequence of the actions which he did in the past. I kind of empathized with the fact that Endeavor understood the journey to self-improvement isn't really done for the satisfaction of others, because you can't really fully achieve that. It's more about proving to your past self that you can be a better version of yourself, if that makes sense. Even if it's just 1% better. It was a really wholesome moment when Shoto asked Darby what his favorite food was, and then they realized they had the same favorite food. And just seeing their whole family together again, probably not in the prettiest way imaginable, but still together, was a great full circle moment. Holy, gentle criminal. Let me not stay on this guy for too long because it's gonna get heated. But somehow his journey had me tearing up. Even though he likes minors,
oh my god, bro. Oh hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
He somehow wriggled his way into my heart. This guy goes from being a D1 village bum trying to break into a high school, yes, a high school, to literally saving the entire island which was holding the fight of Shigaraki and Midoriya and the countless amount of people who were on the island. Even the backstory of him earning his freedom by stopping most of the villains from escaping Tartarus was moving. It showed that in actuality, he was a good dude. He wanted to save and help others, but the world just kept throwing problem after problem at him, and he never got to live his dream of being a hero. So instead, he wallowed in self-pity and decided to become the villain until he met Midoriya. Midoriya changed his outlook on life. He saw the hero he wanted to become in Midoriya, and so he decided that he should pursue his dream of becoming a hero once again, no matter how hard it got, but he still likes minors. Oh wait, never mind. The meaning of true strength. Midoriya, All Might, Bakugo, and Shoto all showed strength in different ways in the last season, especially Midoriya in the fight against Shigaraki, literally giving up the power he had grinded for over 5 seasons that he had finally perfected just to have a chance of saving everyone. It wasn't even a guaranteed victory if he transferred One For All to Shigaraki. But for me, the true strength lies in the fact that Midoriya and all his friends had strength in weakness, which is one thing All For One never had. They all failed at certain things, but they allowed themselves to fail, and then they worked together to help each other overcome their weaknesses. All For One, on the other hand, consumed others who pointed out his weakness, and although that did help him become stronger, ultimately he was alone, so he could never overcome the will of all those people combined, the will of a hero, the will of One For All. The main reason Shigaraki was one of the scariest villains to me was not because he could literally atomize anything he touched. It was because of his inability to give a single shit about anything. His sole mission was to destroy everything, and I mean everything. Now if you don't know his backstory, I'm gonna summarize it just in case. So his powers activated at a very early age, and he had no clue how to use them. So he ended up killing his dog, his sister, his mother, and then After figuring out how to use his powers, he killed his dad. In that moment, Shigaraki killed more than that. He killed any amount of remorse or guilt which could have been felt, or should have been felt. And so, when Midoriya experiences that memory of Shigaraki and literally feels the same thing that he does, he understands how lonely Shigaraki must have felt and how he just needed someone to hold him and tell him everything was going to be okay, instead of screaming and freaking out in his face for powers that he couldn't even control. I mean, me personally, I would have just slammed out Shigaraki after the horrors and atrocities he committed, killing an insane amount of people and destroying literally everything in his path. Like, there's a fine line between forgiveness and guys who just deserve straight punishment, and this guy was way past forgiveness. Let's talk about Bakugo. This guy was on some next level aura farming. He got revived and immediately started flying towards All For One. I think the animation done during this fight was the best I have ever seen in the whole of My Hero Academia. I think Bakugo's fight wanted to showcase how you don't need to have all the powers in the world to win a fight. You just need to hone your own quirk to be the best that it can possibly be. Same thing applies for life, I suppose. You don't need to know how to do every job there is known to man. You just need to find the skill that you're good at, or one job that you think is for you, and keep working at it and honing it to become the best you can be. It also heavily reflected the arrogance that All For One had, since he literally called Bakugo a background character. I don't think there's a bigger diss than that. Even so, Bakugo managed to use his one quirk against the hundreds that All For One had to beat him over and over and over, until the guy used his rewind quirk until he was a baby. Then Bakugo blew up a baby. But it was All For One, so I guess it's fine? Yeah, honestly, I'm not too sure how I feel about that scene. Another thing I'm not sure about is the actual ending, which Deku gets. I mean, it makes sense for him to lose his power because the mission of One For All was complete and yada yada. But you're seriously gonna tell me he becomes a teacher after all of that? Not even like the head of the Hero Association or something more grand, something that actually means something. Not to say that being a teacher doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying he deserved more. He saved Japan and the entire world. There is a certain amount of humility and strength, I guess, in sacrificing your future with no hope of anything in return. But this guy got done in the worst way. Horikoshi was basically forced to give him that super suit at the end of this anime that was designed by Melissa and Mei Hatsume, and it was funded by Bakugo. So in terms of his friends having his back, that was also a pretty cool gesture, but damn, you got a feel for him, man. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought of the ending in the comments, because I'm gonna have a great time reading those little debates. As always, stay safe and subscribe, because we're on our way to 1K.